go and what do the students come here to do? In New Zealand we call them pou, P-O-U, poles or pillars of the land. They all really represent a space, a time and a place in people's history. As with most people of the world, people might wear different jewellery and different clothing to define where you're from. And I'll do some plant life and stuff and talk about those for those who want to come. We prefer to be known by our tribal names. Māori was a name given just to distinguish us from non-Māori. The Kauri tree, K-A-U-R-I, sounds like the man's name Kauri. When people have a Māori experience, they leave with the sense that it's a living culture, that they're not just being processed at a show or in an attraction, but they feel like they've met a local. They get a sense for the traditions that we hold true, but also how we blended it with modern living to make sure our culture survives not just this generation, but future generations. If you're coming, be prepared to be wowed. You know, I think our country is beautiful. It's got the environmental, it's got the Māori culture that makes it unique, but I think it's as the essence of our culture. We always talk about the famous whakatauki, the proverb of he aha te mea nui o te ao, what is the greatest thing in this world? He tangata, he tangata, he tangata, it is people, it is people, it is people. Anyone that's travelled knows that if you have a great people experience, it will be a memory you'll have for life. And that's all I'd encourage you, that New Zealanders love to embrace people. You've come a long way. If you make the investment, we'll look after you. And hence the term haere mai, no mai, piki mai, kake mai, come and be welcomed. Now koa is a pepper tree, likened to the peppermint, but I think it's more a green tea taste.
Well, we're just certainly enjoying the tour because it really starts to talk about the culture and where all of this began and how much you respect your country and your lands.
We've got those with the power was dropped off. So that's the baskets we make. Haere mai ki Aotearoa no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. But the first people to come after Māori were actually, it was Abu Kaz. He came from a place in the Netherlands known as Zeeland. Mangere Mountain, a very significant mountain because most Māori live there as well.
Nose bumping.
Yeah, we can say.
Performed by our beautiful young lady. She brought you here into our room te korowai under the veil of peace.
Forward to getting our building. I think it's really critical that we show how dynamic and diverse Māori actually are. I think that it's one of the reasons why international visitors to Aotearoa New Zealand come to New Zealand in the first place. Aside from the wonderful scenery, they're here because they want to get a sense of the indigenous culture of Aotearoa New Zealand. And it's really important that people know that Māori are alive and well, such as myself, and that we're actually walking around doing a whole lot of different things. Auckland is the gateway to the rest of New Zealand, so we want to be able to introduce particularly our international guests to Maori culture in a way that we would as Maori anyway. We put a lot of emphasis on welcoming people and making quite a big deal of our visitors. We call it manaakitanga.